Hello, and welcome to Constructive Influence, the podcast where innovation meets infrastructure. I'm Kim McCain, your host, and today we are talking about safety on job sites. Did you know that in the construction industry, 1 in 5 workplace deaths come from falls alone? And the cost of injuries and fatalities can run into the billions annually. So, needless to say, safety isn't just a priority, it's a strategic imperative. Today, we're talking to our safety director here at TW Constructors, PJ Jacquez. He will explore how safety culture, technology, and workforce development come together on today's job sites. PJ has a little over a decade in the industry, and he's going to draw on the experience and share how the pandemic reshaped safety, how AI is now a part of the safety toolkit, and what owners can and should know before breaking ground. So, welcome to our guest, PJ Jacquez. So, welcome to my guest today, my co-worker, our safety director, PJ Jacquez. He is joining me today to talk all things safety, which I love because that's super important. Hey, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You can smile, PJ. PJ does not smile. He's so serious all the time. That's because safety is serious business. So you've been with the company how many years now, PJ?
12 years, be 13 years in July.
Wow. Okay. So how did you even get into being the safety director of a construction company? What's your background?
So it's kind of a joke among the safety department. I'm the accidental safety guy. So my full background, right, is I was military for 9 years. I joined right out of high school. Originally from Los Angeles, moved originally to St. Louis with my wife, who's originally from the area. Became a sheet metal worker, working with my stepfather-in-law. Kind of didn't like doing that. Got hired on with Mechanical Solutions to help establish a warehouse program here. So I spent about 3 years basically building the logistics of MSI plus TW. And then Fire Solutions came on, and then glazing came on. And there was a joke. We do our self-assessments every year, and Bill Vegas, the president, said, "You sound like you're bored on your personal assessment." I said, "Well, I kind of am. I kind of like maxed out everything I could do over here." He said, "Well, you've done such a good job over there. Why don't you come over and help me establish a safety program?" So he gave me the ball to run with, him and Todd Weaver, and never told me no, never scoffed at me spending money or anything. And it's really paid off big time for us. They've let me seek training. They've let me guide a whole department into getting the trainings that they need. And we have a pretty good group right now. Most of our professionals right now hold at least a CHST or higher. We do have a couple of junior people, but they're what we call an engineering
training. Go back. What was that? A CSAT? What is that? What does that stand for?
CHST is a construction health and safety technician. It is, for all intents and purposes, the highest set of credentials you can hold if you don't have a college degree. So a couple of us obviously didn't go to school for this. We're, I don't want to say self-taught, because we seek training through accredited and established institutions. But we have a couple here who have degrees, and they're at least an ASP, which is an associated safety professional, and we have 2 who hold the highest set of credentials you can have, which is a certified safety professional, which is a CSP. So those are that's the background of how we got to where we are today. But like I said, it's thanks to Bill and Todd. They have really let me just kind of do whatever I needed to do to get us to where we are.
Nice. So what do you love most about your role as a safety director of 5 companies now?
Um, I think it depends on the day and depends on, I mean, just any given day, honestly. I mean, it cracks me up because those of us who've been around here for a little while know this is honestly the best place you're ever going to work. It, it is. It just, I crack up a lot of times. Like if we get breakfast brought in or something like that, I always tell everybody, like in my personal social circle, my boss is better than yours, and send a picture of whatever it is we're doing, right? Whether it's the branded whiskeys that we give out at Christmas, or the breakfasts, or just this time of year with this company is amazing. 12 days of Christmas and everything else that we do. It is a culture that has allowed me to really build on that safety culture because we have um, a really strong incentive program to make sure that people are doing what's right. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's just, like I said, it just depends. It depends on the season. It depends on the day. This place is just, it's an awesome place to work. So,
Agree. I agree. We are very, very lucky. So let's get into the actual nuts and bolts of your job. So you've been around, you were around during COVID. So obviously there were some changes that had to happen in the safety world and construction. What were some of the most significant safety changes during and after COVID that you can recall?
so I tease Nick Gittemeyer. He's one of our field operations guys all the time. He's the one who I run with the most. I always tell him, it was so much easier before COVID. All I had to do was go walk around a job site and not do anything because safety wasn't that important. It always seemed like, right? But the thing was, with COVID, it really shined a light on a lot of people's safety programs. Um, that pandemic response plan became a huge part of everyone's program, whether and the ability to update it on the fly was, I think, one of the biggest things. A lot of companies have a safety manual that, up until then was 15 years old. Um, I knew, or I've seen electrical companies, right, whose Bible is the NFPA 70E that is updated every 3 years. And we found some of these guys who haven't updated theirs in like 8 or 9 years. It's like they have no clue what the current safety standard was. Um, a lot of us were just kind of coasting along, but COVID really put that microscope on us where we had to go back and start updating everything, making sure that our programs were current, not just current, but that we were going beyond compliance, because during COVID, we saw a lot of people who were scared, flat out. Just, I was on a job site and it was a 33 floor building, and I'd go up a couple stories and I'd find someone crying in the corner because they were scared that, this mystery disease was going to murder them. It was like,
Oh, wow.
we had to go, and establish protocols that weren't just the bare minimum. Now we had to make sure that everything we were doing was for our workers, really. So it really shined a light on showing us how to update and keep things up to date, and just everything that we did at that point was under a microscope. So we had to really ratchet things up quite a bit.
Did you actually create new positions because of COVID and the response to it?
Um, I think on the job sites, the bigger job sites, the first aid tent, right? Everyone calls it the first aid tent, um, where you may have had like an EMT or like a certified nurse's assistant or something like that who would go over there and basically put band-aids on people. That position grew. They had to become more more knowledgeable, especially on the medical side. They were not only on the practical side, but on the admin side, because they were taking people's vital signs and stuff, right? And HIPAA and everything else was involved. So I don't say positions were added, but positions grew. A a lot of responsibilities were added on, and some sectors, those responsibilities have laxed. Um, Fortunately for us, the sectors that we work in for mission critical and pharma and advanced manufacturing, they have kept growing, right? So those positions that were, like I said, an EMT basic, in some cases are a nurse practitioner now, which is, a lot higher of a position. So yeah, but that wasn't really anything created. It was just the responsibilities grew tenfold for a lot of people. Good.
So you would say that the pandemic permanently changed how we think about safety culture and being in
Oh yeah.
compliance more. Yeah, looking at it like
Yeah,
that.
we call it
So,
safety, safety BC, and safety before COVID, and safety AC after COVID. So
yeah, changed everything, changed all of our lives, but especially in your realm and in your line of work in the construction field. So, let's switch to AI, which is obviously a hot topic in everything technology and AI. Are you using AI and technology to improve safety on the TW job sites?
yeah, so we use AI to for job site audits. We use it for developing trainings, mostly toolbox talks and stuff like that. We're kind of using it in its infancy. When we start going to more of the wearables on site, trying to get towards like a almost like a body camera type situation, where it'll identify um, activities and behaviors and hazards that maybe you overlook just because you're in a hurry or whatever. Um, it'll
Huh.
it'll get us to a point where anybody on site can use those wearables, and we'll have that capability to make sure that safety is really all the time, right? It's even if the safety person is doing orientation, you can have a superintendent out there who's able to use these wearables to ratchet things down if they need.
Wow. So to be able to tell if somebody's doing something without their hard hat or the improper, like
Mm-hmm.
they don't have gloves and they're doing a job.
Yep.
Wow. That is interesting. Okay. That is that'll help reduce some accidents, I hope.
Mm-hmm. Also,
How much does
what's
something
cool on the
like that
technology
cost?
side? Well, right now, anything. So like your Ring doorbells on your house, right? You have ways to search through that. AI can go through and search blue car, right? And it'll give you only the footage of a blue car that passes your house. So what they're doing is they're integrating, or they're advancing that technology to recognize on the spot, right? These are the things that we want to catch. We want to, if we have somebody who is not wearing gloves, or not wearing their hard hat, not wearing their high vis, right? Or somebody who, due to facial recognition, shouldn't be on the site, right? Because that's why we all are supposed to have picture badges when we're on site. So it'll get to the point where um, that's a little more bulletproof, but this stuff is in its infancy right now. So it'll
Right.
be really cool though when it gets established.
Sounds like it's super helpful. Okay. So as safety director, what are some of your biggest challenges you face daily, DJ?
Um, we always say, like, so I used to be a sheet metal worker, right?
Hmm.
Putting sheet metal up was, I used to think was so, some of the stuff I did working with tools was so stressful, right? And I look at some of these guys on site who are pulling a wire and they look stressed out, and I'm like, you know what? Sometimes I wish I could go back to that, because doing the work is really easy. People are hard. Um, trying to
Yes.
manage, trying to manage so many different personalities, right? Or so many different experience levels. Um, I have probably 3 or 4 guys who are really more qualified than I am, right? On the safety front. And I have to manage them as well as, a kid who has less than a year's experience. So it's trying to tailor my approach to who I'm working with at the time, how I'm working with them at the time. Um, generational differences. We have some of these guys who are in their 60s, and I have, people who are in their 20s, and I have to tailor my approach to everything is, basically what it comes down to. Whether that's incentives, or maybe sometimes I need to be a little more stern with some people. It's just, you got to kind of feel the situation out.
Definitely. I understand that when you're managing a team and dealing with different people. You talked about how important the buy-in was with leadership with Ty Weaver and Bill Vegas, and you attribute that to your success
Oh, big time.
as a
Yeah,
safety
big time. I
director.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, just as an example, right? Just what was that, like a month and a half ago, where we did our suicide awareness stand down. I mean, when
Okay.
you look at just the actual monetary impact that has to the company, right? Where I'm able to stand down 250 to 450 workers, depending on, where we're at, and basically give them all 2 hours of pay, feed them, right? For the trucks that are coming in now, wear and tear on the trucks and the fuel, then the speaker, and then on top of that, if that wasn't enough, the swag that's involved, whether it's t-shirts or hats or beanies, the door prizes that are involved, the things that make people want to come to these things. And I can't do that without their support. And when you look at it, sometimes that's a $70,000-$80,000 hit for that day, right? And that,
Right.
I mean, effectively, that comes out of his pocket. He could sit there and tell me straight to my face, like, "You're crazy, go away." But he doesn't. That's the
Right.
buy-in that he's given. He's got. I mean, he's one of the best people you ever meet. And he really believes that at the end of the day, he just wants everyone to go home, the same way that they came in. Yeah, he wants to get a little dirty for him at times, but that's what you're making a good life doing. So,
Yeah, most definitely. So let's switch to this is a huge topic with people in the construction industry, and that's workforce development and training. What does workforce development mean to you as a safety director from a safety perspective? I know that we're hiring fast and furious, so you're
yeah.
bringing more people onto your team. So what does that look like?
So on the safety department right now, originally what we had was safety engineers, and like that was it. It was one role, and then we went to safety engineers and safety managers because we had some of our bigger projects. We were getting that safety lead. Now we have a safety lead, we have a safety manager, we have technician one, technician two, and then an admin. We also have lift directors now, which is uh, basically an offshoot of safety. And for each one of those positions, we're having them meet a certain criteria before they can grow farther. I had a guy come to me a couple months back, had his degree and everything, and I really, I like him. He's a good guy. I think he's a great fit for things, but with some of the clients we work with, they have to have a certain set of credentials, and they have to have a certain amount of experience that they have to meet. It was like, I need you to go and get these letters just to put behind your name, so that the client, um, you know, understands that you took the test, is what it comes down to, right? And then it's a certificate and everything else. It's right. It's them being certified. So, we have to step back, and everybody has to meet a certain minimum before they can advance. So we have different roadmaps, whether they come to us with or without certifications. And then we also have some of our engineers in training, which we're on number 3 now. The last 2 have gone on to become travelers for us, working on site, doing being safety on some of the hyperscale data centers that we're building. So it's a lot. I ask a lot of them, but I also make sure that they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. So to get them to that place.
So
So
if I'm a young person and I'm interested in entering construction, primarily the safety area of construction, what are some of the soft skills you think I should have to be successful in that role?
Um, the bold. So you have to be a bold person. You can't be meek. Um, that's number one, because the meeker you are, the more you will get run over. You're going to have people on site who are, they're seasoned and they know what their job is. They will also tell you that they've done this 1,000 times and they've never gotten hurt, even though statistically all it proves is that they've been lucky. Um, you have to be able to stand toe to toe with them and confidently say, "This is why I need you to do what I'm asking you to do." Um, but you also have to be genuine enough that when they walk away from this situation, that they understand that you're doing this out of the kindness of your heart, and because you really believe in what you believe in. That's the number one soft skill that you need to have. It's just that boldness and being able to find that balance between the two. Conflict resolution is huge. Knowing how to talk to people. You really have to know how to talk to people, because they're going to, like I said, they're going to run you over sometimes. Some people, they have a full alphabet soup behind their name, and that's intimidating to a lot of people. Um, if you allow yourself to be intimidated, right, because we preach safety first, and somebody who is a PMP and everything else, right, project manager, has all these things behind their name, comes to you and says, "Well, can't do that. We're behind schedule." It's not my problem. It's I used to always tell one of the project managers, he would say something to me. I tell him, "I don't deal in time and I don't deal in money. I deal in safety, and that's it." Ultimately, I wish that was the truth, right? Because at the end of the day, I
Mhm.
do need to contribute and make sure the safety is contributing back to the project, and that's helping to keep everybody, on schedule and everything. But you know, those are the kind of things that they need to be able to do. It's communication, right? At the end of the day, when you get out of the documentation and everything else, safety is a conversation that we're having with people and explaining why we're asking things or asking for
Strong
things.
communication skills.
Mhm.
That's important. Can you talk about the training or any mentoring programs that help younger workers grow into safety minded leaders? You
Um,
have mentoring programs?
so for us, right, and I have a new guy coming on in, I believe, December. He's going to come to us pretty fresh. Um, we almost do it in like an OJT, like on the job training aspect for us. Um, we have had upwards of 3 engineers in training at one time. That was a bit much, but you know, it's there. You just have to understand that you're entry level, um, and with entry level comes entry pay, right? So some guys believe that the pay may not be worth the headache, uh, but I guarantee them, if they stick with us, do as we ask, follow the roadmaps that we put in front of them, they're gonna. It's a great living. It really is. Um, so that's how we do it here. I know other companies, bigger conglomerates, bigger construction companies, they have a program that'll work the same way. Um, Usually they pull from their labor force, whether that's one of their laborers or um, maybe a skilled craft worker that is just ready to be done with, the field portion of it. So uh, most companies have that. As far as being able to find a training program, it's usually going to be through your colleges or your universities. OSHA themselves actually run like a territorial um, program. So OSHA is broke down into different territories. So you'll have some of the universities that'll buy in and have instructors come out and teach different classes. And then that's a certificate class. You build up a resume, or you build up your certifications and try to sell yourself, uh, to get on to a company at that point, and then get brought on into one of those in training positions. Other than that, it is going to school for it. I've got one guy who's going for his doctorate. He's going to be a doctor in safety. I think that's pretty cool,
Didn't even
actually.
know they offer such a thing. You're right.
Yeah. So, and that was like I always said, I didn't know that this was a thing, right? Um, you can get a degree in EH&S, which is employee health and safety. You can get a master's, you can get a doctorate, and it's just the skill. If you don't have those soft skills, that may be the route to take to be able to get you into a really bulletproof training program that can get you the knowledge where you have the knowledge and nobody can back you down. So it can be, it's a really viable route going that way. Now, I mean, you do
Is
have
this a
student loans
growing?
at the end of the day.
Right. Is this a growing field? Is this something like you think people should encourage their young people to pursue?
It is. We tend to see ebbs and flows. Um, Obviously, you're going to have different sectors, like in the construction industry. We have residential, right, where you won't find safety on a residential project. It's
Yep.
kind of scary. Um, some light commercial, good luck. Heavy commercial, heavy industrial, it is going to be ratcheted up tenfold. On the general industry side, when you get into uh, manufacturing and you get into like warehousing and stuff like that, especially with the bigger companies, because they hold their own insurance, and that's where you start to see a lot of safety protocols that are ratcheted up tenfold. Um, Insurance is what drives your risk management, right? And
Right.
if you allow your company to do things that is risky, you have to pay for the risks. So if you can manage that risk, then it pays for itself. So there's always going to be a need until they replace us all with robots, but there will always be a need for somebody to manage those risks, to make sure that you're getting the return on what you put into your company.
Absolutely. Okay. So, how do you stay on top of safety trends? Like, is there some, I don't know, newsletter you follow? Is there
Oh,
some trade
so
organization that
there is the board of certified safety professionals. They put on a newsletter rather regularly. There are message boards for OSHA, who they put out stuff fairly regularly. There are professional organizations like the MCAA, which is the Mechanical Contractors Association of America, SMACNA, which is the sheet metal, what's the Sheet Metal Workers Association? I forget what SMACNA actually stands for. The AGC. There are all kinds of different professional organizations who are really heavy in safety. They hold, actually, right now, they're doing the what we call the safety directors get together over at Top Golf in Chesterfield right now for the mechanical contractors. We all get together. We have different message threads that we're able to use if we need help or with development, like policy development. Um,
huh?
yeah, I mean, there's plenty of resources to stay on top of this stuff. Plus, a lot of our clients are really, really heavy in this. I had a client ship me out to Maryland not too long ago just to go sit around for 3 days to look at how um, tool technology is advancing and how we're able to reduce injuries just based off of hand tools and power tools now. So it's out there. It's daunting at first because you don't really know where to look. Um,
Mhm.
but as long as you have somebody who can mentor and guide you, you'll be on top of it.
Nice. Okay. So finally, let's get into, you talked about clients and owners. What do you wish every project owner understood about safety before they begin a construction project?
It's not cheap and it's not fast. we add
Those are things they
Safety
don't want to
adds,
hear, PJ.
I know it. Safety adds a level of, it safety can add, what we call efficiency as a byproduct, right? Because in safety, we ask you to slow down, we ask you to plan the work. Through those plans, you'd be amazed at how many times we find things that are not right on on a project, whether it is equipment was misordered, you have the wrong widget for this, or it really is it can really breed efficiency into the project once you get that slowdown and that planning attitude. The other portion of that is for them to understand that we're going to have to spend some money, whether it is installing safety systems um, like warning lines for your roof, or rope grabs for ladders, or any number of things they could be. And then there's also the incentive program, which a lot of our more sophisticated clients are OSIPs. So that's an owner. Basically, it's a owner's insurance program, where they control the insurance for the project, right? So they want us to keep the numbers down. They want us to keep the incidences down. So in order to do that, you have to give an incentive to our trade partners and to the craft workers to make sure we're keeping those numbers down. And that can be meals. You'd be surprised how much good comes from a Chick-fil-A box, right? It makes people feel appreciated. That's a big deal to a lot of these guys.
Cool. All right. So that, I guess that lets you know what you need to do. If you are a person going into a construction project, it's not cheap and it's not fast. And it's something that you need to invest in at the beginning of a project, and the project needs to be planned. Those are definitely the takeaways from making sure that your safety program on a large scale project, on a large scale construction project, is in place. And that is from our safety professional that we have here at TW Constructors and our family of companies. Thank you so much, PJ. I know this was like pulling teeth. It really wasn't. You don't mind talking to me. He sits right across from me. So
Yes, I do.
I appreciate. Is there anything you want to leave us with, to just tell people what they need to know about safety and how important it is?
Just at the end of the day, just remember that safety isn't always physical, right? A lot of it is mental. If somebody feels safe, it's easier to be safe, right? So the more diverse the more diverse labor force that we're getting, it may take some coaching, especially to some of the guys who we are going to be your key members. They're the guys who's been around forever. He may need to change his vocabulary a little bit. Some of these guys who really think that they're cowboys may want to keep their Sharpie in their pocket when they're in the porta john. Just stupid stuff like that can be detrimental to a job site. Just remember that it's 95% mental at the end of the day. If you feel safe, you're more able to be safe. So.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you so much, PJ. And you just keep building safely and building innovatively, and make sure you keep watching the Constructive Influence podcast. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll see you next time.